what you unleashed. You can't outrun the emptiness.
We all have things that we regret.
But I have so many.
Lena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. That's why we need each other.
We can't stop him alone. But we can find a way. Together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this non-spoiler review for Thunderbolts, this brand new Marvel film that is out in theaters this weekend. I got a chance to see it early this week on Monday night. For those of you who watched my out of the theater reaction, thank you so much. About 2 minutes of my initial thoughts about the movie. I'm going to go a little more deeper into the movie here in this review. This is a non-spoiler review, although I'm going to give some plot details away just to warn you ahead of time, because those are overall general things that are available through the trailer or available in written reviews. I'm going to dive into the acting, dive into the direction, and give you my overall score on it by the end of this non-spoiler review. All right, this film comes to us from director Jake Schreier, who I'm somewhat familiar with, but this is his first big, massive fare on the big screen here. And I have to say, right off the bat, I came away very impressed by the movie. I really enjoyed the film. It's not without its flaws or plot conveniences, but overall, I have to say I had such a good time with this one, even with the darker material that this film explores. All right, so the basic plot of the movie is that all of these superheroes who have made mistakes in their lives and not really been up to snuff with the responsibilities they've been given, they've been working for Valentina separately as agents. She brings them together through some nefarious means. They end up figuring out that they do work well together. They have good chemistry together, and each of them confronts a moment of questioning whether they are good enough to do what they do, which I think is really interesting as they come together to fight the main villain. But what this battle does is it makes all of them confront their issues with themselves and their issues about coming together, working as a team, and their self-worth issues, which I think is a really interesting element to put in a Marvel movie here. It's all led by Florence Pugh, who is fantastic as Elena Belova. She is the heart of the movie. We are watching her journey from the opening frames all the way to the end. She's in a place of existential crisis because her sister is dead. She's bored with her work. She hasn't talked to her dad in a long time, or her mom. And of course, we have to remember she has now been out of the Red Room for a while now. So how has the real world affected her without the protection of the Red Room? And yes, the Red Room is a terrible place to be, of course, but there is a sense of protection and knowing how things work. This is not the Yelena Belova from Hawkeye. This is a much more sadder, contemplative, concerned person about where she's going and where she fits in the world. And that mirrors a lot of what happens with all the other members of the Thunderbolts. They're all kind of out of place. They all had possibilities for more, or they all had glimpses of what they could be, but then going through their journeys in their respective movies or TV shows, they're now in a place of feeling a bit unmoored and not knowing where they belong. Well, Valentina brings them together, as I said, and that's where they start their journey of figuring out how they work together. I really like the action sequences here, really enjoy when we get them. I think they're timed perfectly to fit in the rhythms of the movie as we're going along. I enjoy the direction here from Jake Schreier. I think he does a really good job of finding the intimate moments and directing those really well, along with the massive moments, especially when Sentry finally appears. It is jaw-dropping to see the power of what Sentry is like. There is a scene where he is fully displaying his powers for the first time with the members of the Thunderbolts that I think will make a lot of you drop your jaws in amazement in seeing how well they staged that, considering how we've seen it in the comic books. And when the Void comes along, it is truly terrifying to see how unsettling his power can be and how devastating his power can be. And I read a recent interview that those images you see in the trailer of the blacked outlines of bodies as they're disappearing into the Void, it was influenced by what you saw after the Hiroshima bombing there in World War II. So there's a lot of commentary being made here by the director and the writers about power and how power can corrupt and how power in the wrong hands, when it is handed to someone who is unstable, can be devastating for the rest of the world. As far as acting goes, Florence Pugh is fantastic in this. As I said, she's the heart of the movie. We follow her journey and what she goes through and what she endures. There's a beautiful scene between her and David Harbour, who is back as the Red Guardian and fantastic as her dad. A beautiful scene between the two of them when she's at the height of her doubts about herself and where she belongs and where she's going. And I caught myself getting emotional in that scene because having that come out through Yelena's experience, I think was a really powerful thing to see in an MCU movie. Everyone else is good in the film. Hannah John-Kamen is great as Ghost. I'm glad she gets more screen time to show what she can do. It's great to see Wyatt Russell back here as John Walker. I have a lot of care and sympathy for John Walker. He's really grown on me since the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, and there's things he endures in this movie that make you care about him more. Sebastian Stan, fantastic here. They do touch on him being a congressman and all of that and what it means, and him being the Winter Soldier and his past as well. And I really enjoy what we get from Julie Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina. I'm not the biggest fan of her character in the MCU, but this is the best usage of her. This is everything that they were hoping to have Valentina do and radiate in the MCU. It really comes to bear in this movie so well, and I was very impressed by her performance in the film. David Harbour, as I mentioned, stellar as always, and he delivers some really funny moments and some poignant moments and some touching moments throughout the movie. I also think Geraldine Viswanathan as Mel does a really good job. She has nice comedic timing here in interactions with Valentina and her interactions with Bucky. And I saved the newest superhero actor to the MCU for last. Louis Pullman as Sentry is fantastic. I did like his work in Top Gun Maverick, but I haven't seen him in much else. So to see him be in another franchise film where he delivers a damn good performance that has some really layered complexity to his exploration of his own insecurities, his own fears, his own low self-esteem issues, and seeing the way we explore that through flashbacks and images and explorations in his mind of what he grew up with. I think that's really poignant because you don't know what he's going to do with those emotions, what he's going to do with those triggers, especially once he embraces the power of Sentry. I think he delivers a lot here that makes you at times go, oh my God, I feel so sorry for him. I want to take care of him. I want to heal him. And also, oh my God, this dude is super powerful and very unsettling and can destroy with the snap of his fingers. So it is a great performance, I think, from Louis Pullman within the context of this film. I also like the way the film is constructed. I think there are some criticisms to be made about how the team comes together at the beginning. I can understand how some people feel it's a little too quick, but it kind of worked for me because we'd already had time with these characters. I didn't need to be introduced to these characters. There might be some of you who haven't seen these movies or these TV shows, and so you might be a little bit lost about who these characters are and what they do. But for me, having seen all of that stuff, I found their coming together much more believable and much more natural and organic than someone who maybe doesn't know too much about these characters. And it's very believable how they have to figure out how to work together, how they question themselves, how questioning themselves affects how they work together. And I do like the script here. I like a lot of the interactions here that Eric Pearson and Joanna Kahlo wrote between some of these characters and their critical moments in the film. But the number one reason I like the movie is because it is a really well done character piece within the MCU. We get to spend a lot of time with these characters, understanding their motivations, understanding the things they went through, seeing them process all the pain and the anger and the hurt, and how working together as a team brings all of that out, has them confront all of this stuff. And I like the way they deal with mental health. That's another big part of this movie. We should definitely take a moment to talk about that. This is not an A24 independent film that's going to go deep into mental health and explore all the facets of mental health. No. But within the Marvel universe and the constructs and the parameters of a Marvel universe, I think they do a really good job of displaying what mental health can feel like, what panic attacks can feel like, what sliding into the darkness can feel like for those of us who have mental health issues, and how overwhelming, how powerless you feel, and how much you want to give up rather than fight. And I was really surprised at how much of that they got really right. So overall, even though I have some issues with how they came together, I have a little bit of issues with some of the jokes that don't 100% land, I do think this is a damn good movie. So I give it 4 cowboy hats out of 5 cowboy hats. Highly recommend you all go and see this one. This is a movie you will enjoy. This is a movie that has a lot to say, and this is a movie that moves the MCU forward, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this movie. There are 2 post-credit scenes, one in the middle of the credits and one all the way at the end of the credits. So do not leave until after you see that second one. Well, if you get a chance to see Thunderbolts this weekend, I want to hear from you. Let me know what you thought about it, good or bad, and everything in between down in the comments section below. Really appreciate you watching this non-spoiler review for Thunderbolts. Look for the Geek Buddy spoiler review, which will probably be coming sometime this weekend or at the beginning of next week. Take care of yourselves until then, and I'll talk to you next time with another brand new review video here on the Outlaw Nation. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content from the Outlaw Nation.